we gon' talk about it. Let's talk about it. Get in here, we in here tonight. So get in here, we in here to vibe.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What's today's day? Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy hump day. How's everybody doing? Listen, it says share your referral link. What's a referral link? Oh, anyway. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody is well. I know we don't have a lot of people in the house. A lot of people are at work. Hopefully they will be able to come back and do a watch later. I do find this topic very interesting. I just dropped my coffee link in the chat. If anybody want to bless this live stream, it's a different type of drama, y'all. It's a different type of drama. Hold on a second. Let me pin it to the top right quick. Big shout out to all my channel members that showed up in the chat. Thank you guys for showing up. A huge shout out to my moderators. Thank you guys for always holding it down. Appreciate you guys very much. Make sure y'all hit that thumbs up button for me. I am sipping on some coffee. Y'all, today we're going to, oh Lord, this is so heavy, y'all. Today we're going to talk about a topic that, baby, it needs to be talked about. However, it's going to be very sensitive. I'm going to say that. It's going to be very sensitive in regards to race, okay? It's going to be very sensitive in regards to younger adults, parenting styles, and the laws, okay? The laws. Because I'm going to tell you now, before we get into this story, y'all see the title, Stand Your Ground or Cross the Line. A tragic teen stabbing in Frisco, Texas is what we're talking about. Here's the thing. I want to say this before I start this story. There are going to be people with difference of opinion. I need for you guys to respect each other's opinion. You don't have to agree with it. What we're not going to do is argue amongst ourselves in the chat, okay? Now, healthy debates are fine, but no arguing. No arguing. I see people already going ham on each other, all because of this case. It happened about 5 days ago or so. Let me see. No, actually longer, about 7, April the 2nd, okay? And it's now April the 9th. And it is getting around on the internet and people are having a difference of opinion. And that's fine. Nothing is wrong with having a difference of opinion. I have a feeling that we too in this chat is going to have a difference of opinion. Just like religion, we have a difference of opinion. And just like politics, we have a difference of opinion. We're going to have a difference of opinion in this chat. But what we don't have to do is call each other names. We don't have to yell at each other, with the loud, capitalizing everything, scream at each other, or even cuss each other. I would ask, please, I'm going to talk on this topic more than once. Whenever I talk on a topic like this, please restrain from making racist comments, because this is not a racist issue, right? What happened is not a racial issue, but people are making it a racial issue, okay? So I want to say that up front. This is not about race, but it is about the laws. Well, somewhat. It's getting to that point, okay? So we're going to get into it. An unfortunate situation happened, you guys, and we want to talk about it. It is going viral, so I will be doing updates on this as it comes, because it's almost like a George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin type situation, okay? It's almost like that, all right? So let's get into it. I have the whole entire arrest report, but let me just tell you what happened before we get into this, okay? So on or about April the 2nd, all right, these two young men were at track meets, okay? It was a track meet at a high school in Frisco, Texas. Both of these young men are 17 years old. Let me stop for a second. I need you guys to share. I have 95 people in here. Y'all know if I was talking about somebody else, everybody named Mama would be in here. So I need you guys to share. Hit that thumbs up, share, and let the people in the sisterhood know I'm live. Moderators, please. Thank you. Let me post it on my Facebook page too, because I haven't done it this morning. Give me a second. Give me a second. I'm sorry. I just want more people in here before I start. But if I don't, it's okay. I'm live now on YouTube. Now, I did reschedule this live a few times because I was out and about yesterday. Y'all know my daughter about to get married and we've been busy. All right, so I just posted it on live. She said I already shared it to the group. Okay, great. Thank you. What is my thumbs up looking like? Because that also allows YouTube to send it out to more people, to have more people in your live stream. These two teams, you have the African American fella by the name of Karmelo Anthony. All right, and then you have Austin Metcalf is the Caucasian young man. Okay, they're both 17. They were at a track meet in Frisco, Texas. Okay, I want to say that's probably outside of Austin or something. Not exactly sure. However, they were at a track meet when the confrontation began. Now, because I just showed you the pictures, now I'm going to do it individually. All right. Now, this young fella, which name is Austin, he walked up to this young fella, which name is Karmelo. Karmelo was sitting on the rotary side. Now, listen to this. They were at a track meet, and this guy was a visitor. Karmelo was a visitor. He did not go to that school. This guy, it was his school. They had like a little tented area. Now, let me say this before I get on this. Please, and I'm going to ask y'all, if y'all love me, I want y'all to respect my wishes. When I'm going on this story, please do not talk about no other drama. Okay? I don't want to hear about no RH. I don't want to hear about no loudmouths. Please, all due respect, do not bring up no other drama when I am talking about this. Now, if you do today, I will time you out for 24 hours. Do not, and I repeat, do not bring up any other drama while I'm going over this, okay? And the reason why I'm saying this is because it's really touchy, and I don't want to have to read in the comments, and it throws me off with what I'm trying to get out, okay? Now, this young fella, it was his school, right? They were at a track meet, okay? I said Austin, someone corrected me and said it was outside of Dallas. Thank you so very much, okay? So outside of Dallas, they were at a track meet of this young fella. They had a tent up, okay? A team tent. That's what they're putting out. It was a team tent. This young fella was sitting under the tent, okay? This young fella came up to him and said, "You're under our tent and you need to move. You don't go to this school. This is not your team. You don't belong underneath this tent." This young fella said, "I'm not moving. I ain't going nowhere. Make me move." They started arguing back and forth. They exchanged words. Then this young fella told him again, "You need to move." This young fella said, "You put your hands on me and see what happened." Now, I'm paraphrasing some of it, okay? I will read the police report in a minute, but let me just give you my spiel, and then we're going to read the police report word from word. So he said, "You put your hands on me and see what happened." This young fella grabbed him in an effort to move him, okay? This young fella reached in his bag, pulled out a knife, and stabbed him in his chest one time, okay? Now, I'm going to read the police report. It's pretty much going to say what I said, but it's going to say other things with the witnesses that was there, the things that they had to say. So we'll be able to break it down from there. And then we're going to have a conversation. All right. So let me put it up on the screen for everybody. This is the arrest report. All right. So let's zoom in again. Karmelo Anthony is the black young guy that stabbed the white fella, all right? It says on April the 2nd, 2025 at 10:01 hours, I. Stanley School Resource Officer Cortez heard over the radio dispatch, called out a stabbing called at David Kukendo Stadium. All right. I'm going to skip some of the stuff that I don't find important. The FPD call notes indicated that an athlete had been stabbed. The suspect was reported as being a black male wearing a gray hoodie and a blue sweatpants. I immediately left my office and I ran across the Stanley Middle School parking lot toward a southwest entrance into the stadium. As I entered the stadium, 2 high school age students informed me that the victim, which is the white guy, was on the north end of the stadium by the bleachers under a Memorial High School tent. I did not identify these students. Next, I proceeded toward the north end of the stadium, which is the visitor's side, on foot. As I got closer to the north end, I could see the Memorial High School tent with multiple individuals under the tent. Once I arrived onto the north side bleachers, an adult male who was on the track pointed out the suspect. I was not able to identify that witness. The individual that was pointed out to me was a black man wearing a gray hoodie, sweater, and dark colored Nike pants. The suspect at this point was on the track on the north end. Hold on. I know it's kind of, let me see if I can make it like this. Well, it's tiny. You're going to have to work with me. It's tiny, y'all. It's tiny. Hold on. Let me see if I can make it a little bit better, though. So y'all can see what I see. Hold on. All right, there we go. I gave the suspect instructions. Oh, wait, excuse me. There was a chain link fence that separated me from the suspect. I gave the suspect instructions to keep his hands up in the air. During this time, the suspect, which is the black kid, Karmelo, said verbally out loud, "I was protecting myself." It should be noted that I had not questioned him about the incident when he made that comment. Okay. I asked him if he had any weapons, and he said no. I patted him down for weapons while we were walking along the fence, and I did not locate any on his person. I instructed the male to continue walking along the fence, which he complied, towards an area where there was an opening in the fence that led off the track. While walking him off the track, the suspect also said he put his hands on me. I then detained the suspect in handcuffs, handcuffed behind his back, and had him to sit down on the ground. Officer Ricky had arrived on the scene at that time. I conducted another pat down on him and then searched his person after he gave me consent. There was no weapons found in that location. While the suspect sat on the ground, I advised that I had the alleged suspect. So he called out, "I have the alleged suspect apprehended." The suspect, which is the black guy, Karmelo, he responds and says, "I'm not alleged. I did it." Now, let me just stop right there. You can definitely tell that this young fella has never been in no type of trouble, because had he been in any type of trouble, he would have known to keep his mouth shut, okay? But he yelled out, "It's not alleged. I did it." So he owned it. He admitted it, okay? Wish he wouldn't have done that, but nevertheless. Next, Officer Ricky and I walked the suspect to patrol vehicle 2412. This is Officer Ricky's patrol vehicle, which was on the northeast gate of the stadium. As we were walking to the squad car, the suspect, the black kid, Karmelo, was emotional and said, he put his hands on me. I told him not to. I did not question the suspect about the incident while he was escorted to the patrol vehicle, right? So meaning Karmelo gave this information on his own. I searched his person once again, and I had him to sit in the back seat of the patrol car. While the suspect was in the back seat, I noticed fresh blood on his left finger. I verbally acknowledged that I saw blood out loud so that it would be captured on my body-worn camera. It should also be noted that the suspect asked, is he going to be okay, while he was in the back seat. So Karmelo asked, was Austin going to be okay? I then identified the suspect. So now he identified who Karmelo Anthony was. He provided his name and date of birth verbally as Karmelo Anthony, black male, with a date of birth of blah, 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 which I ran through the FBD dispatch. Officer Hancock then arrived on the scene and remained with me and the suspect at this point. Karmelo was then checked via eSchool database for the FISD student to also confirm his identity. So they did a double check to find out that he did indeed tell them the correct information in identifying himself. It was a match, okay? On what he told them and what the school system, it was a match. Next, I was advised by Sergeant Hollow to transport the subject to the Frisco PD jail. Officer Hancock and I transported him to jail. Again, I did not question him about the incident. Okay, no questions. Upon arrival to the jail, Karmelo was escorted into the intake area. FPD jail staff changed him into jail attire. You know, those cute little jumpsuits and shit that I said I don't want to ever be in. So he had to go dress out. And I remained with the jail staff the entire time that he was changed over. The clothes that Karmelo was wearing was placed in an FPD paper evidence bag. The clothes remained in my possession from this point on. Upon Karmelo being placed into a jail cell, I continued to keep possession of his clothes. I returned to my patrol vehicle along with Officer Hancock, and we placed Karmelo clothes in the back trunk area. I drove my car out of the Sally Port and parked the squad in a crime scene. In a FBP patrol parking area or whatever. Karmelo clothes remain in the trunk. And the reason why they're saying this because what they're trying to say is that nobody else had access to his clothes. So they can't, they didn't tamper with evidence is what he's trying to say. So anyway, and then they ended up, it says the crime scene technician, K. Dillard, then took possession of the clothes. So basically they trying to say they had eyes on his clothing until it was turned over to a crime scene technician, okay? I added my body-worn camera to the case. I have no further information to report, right? Now, there's supplementals. Now, this was done by, let me see the first guy. This was done, and he is being, let me say this right quick. He is being charged with first-degree felony. I'm not done, though, you guys. He's being charged with first-degree felony. This was officers Cortez Adacor, whatever his name is, Cortez. This was his statement. Now we are going into another officer's statement. This is Officer Taylor, okay? Now, Officer Taylor says, give me a sec. Officer Taylor says, let me blow it up. On Wednesday, April the 2nd, I was assigned to work patrol in the city of Frisco at approximately 10:02 hours. I responded to the report of a stabbing, Let me just see if he said anything different. All right, he says, when I arrived on the scene, I grabbed a roll of crime scene tape from my trunk and proceeded to the visitors' bleachers where dispatch advised the victim was. While I was walking toward the visitor bleachers, I was approached by a witness who identified himself as blah, 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 began telling me what happened. And I asked him, where did the stabbing occur? And he advised it happened under the Memorial High School pop-up tent in the visitors' bleachers. I immediately informed Sergeant Otis where the witness stabbed visitors' bleachers. Okay, wait a minute. So wait a minute. Okay, now I got to ask myself a question. Let me write that down. Because if it was the visitors' bleachers, okay. So I may have to correct myself because I thought it was the other boys' school, but now they say the visitor bleacher. But I'll get back to that in a minute. Anyway, so it happened under the Memorial High School pop-up tent in the visitors' bleachers. I immediately informed Sergeant Otis where the witness stated the stabbing occurred and gave him the crime scene tape to start securing the crime scene. I then had moved to the walkway under the visitors' bleachers out of the rain to further speak with me. The following is a summary of my contact with blah, blah, blah. Advised he was sitting on the Memorial High School pop-up tent with his team and was near the victim. Okay. He says, hold on. All right. Austin and the suspect, who was later identified as Karmelo Anthony, was from Centennial High School and was sitting under the Memorial High School tent. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So they went to the same school? Austin and the suspect, who was later identified as Karmelo Anthony, was from Centennial High School and was sitting under the Memorial High School tent. Austin had told Anthony that he needed to move out from under their tent, and Anthony grabbed his bag. Wait a minute, you guys. Let me finish reading because wait a minute. So anyway, Austin had told Anthony that he needed to move out from under their team's tent, and Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, "Touch me and see what happens." No one really thought Anthony really had a weapon in his bag, and Austin proceeded to touch Anthony. Well, okay, that's finished. And then Anthony told Austin to punch him and see what happens. So he said, "You touch me and see what happened." When he called his bluff, basically, he didn't think that he would do it. So then Anthony said, "Punch me and see what happened." A short time later, Austin, the white kid, grabbed Anthony, the black kid, to tell him to move. And Anthony pulled out, and it's scratched out. So we already know what it is. And well, he pulled out whatever that says, recall as a black knife, and stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away. So he stabbed him and ran. Austin began grabbing his chest and telling everybody to get help. Blank advised he did not know Anthony's name, but stated another Memorial track member was friends with Anthony and could identify Anthony. Described Anthony as a black male, skinny with a possible goatee, short puffy hair, and wearing Centennial High School clothing. This concludes my contact with this person. I then was instructed to start a crime scene log. I retrieved a crime scene log from my patrol vehicle and began starting the crime scene log. I was later relieved by another officer who took over the crime scene. I logged off. All right. So now another officer, let's see if he said anything different. After hearing more dispatch call information, I drove to the scene. While en route, I heard Officer Cortez say that he has a suspect in custody. When I got on the scene, I looked for Officer Cortez and went straight to him to hold the security with the suspect that he had handcuffed and secured in the police squad. Multiple witnesses were providing statements to officers where the stabbing occurred at Memorial High School track. So what I'm getting, you guys, they were both visitors to that school. It seems to me that they were both visitors to that school. They went to the same school, and they were both visiting Memorial High School track. That's what I'm getting, but let me finish reading, you guys. Let me finish reading. This is my first time reading this like you guys, okay? Only a short time later, Officer Cortez and myself escorted the suspect to the Frisco Adult Holdings Facility. Anthony was transitioned off to the jail staff without incident. A jail paperwork was completed. and they took the investigation there. CID did. All right. Now, this is another officer, Frisco, Alvin Fisher. Let me see if he said anything different. He did. Okay. It says, when I arrived to the crime scene, the crime scene was already marked off and the suspect was already in custody, honey. I began asking the people if they were witnesses to anything. I made contact with Hunter, blah, blah, blah. They were both breathing heavily and crying due to the nature of the event. They were with coaches on the field and it was pouring down raining. Okay. Now, mind you, it was pouring down raining, and that is why they was under the tent in the first place. Okay. We made the decision to relocate to a locker room just to the east to get out of the rain. Once in there, things calmed down a little bit. However, they were still hysterical and could not really talk. In there, I learned that Hunter was the brother of the victim. So now we are talking to the twin brother. The white guy is a twin. Hunter is Austin's twin. Okay. So now they're talking to the twin brother. I attempted to ask them both what happened. I could not really get anything out of Hunter, but he stated that he wanted to speak. I asked him what happened, and he said they were all sitting on the bleachers. Now, this is the twin brothers' account. They were all sitting under the bleachers under a Memorial High School tent. So now it's not even his tent. See, media is something different, baby. Media is something different. So when another male who he did not know walked over and sat under the tent, baby, this is getting juicy. This is getting juicy because it wasn't their tent. It was a Memorial High School tent. Again, let me read this again. I attempted to ask both of them what happened. I could not really get anything out of Hunter, the twin brother, but Hunter stated that he wanted to speak. I asked him what happened, and Hunter himself said they were sitting on the bleachers under a Memorial High School tent when another male, the black guy who he didn't know, walked over and sat under the tent. Then said Austin, the white guy, the victim, told this black guy that since he did not go to Memorial, he had to leave the tent. Austin and the male went back and forth, and then Austin stood up and Austin, the white guy, stood up and pushed the male. It gets juicier. It gets juicier because his twin brother said that Austin, the guy that died, stood up and pushed the male to get him out of the tent. Baby, we didn't know that. We didn't know that he already pushed him before the stabbing. Let's go. He pushed him to get him out of the tent and said during this time of arguing, during the tent, and blank has said during this time of arguing, the male was reaching around in his bag. It was at this time the male took out the knife and stabbed Austin and then left the scene. This was all I remembered when he talked to me. After this, I then stood by the 3 athlete witnesses until CID arrived and interviewed them. I was then relieved by an SRO and went back. Now, per this officer, which is Alvin Fisher, he said the brother, Hunter, said that Austin pushed the black guy. Let's continue. Now we have Officer Mike Crawford. He said when he arrived on the scene, he observed the medical personnel and several bystanders standing next to the subject, later identified as the victim, Austin. The medical personnel were actively engaged in life-saving measures. I observed a crime scene was created around the area and began collecting the names and contact information of the bystanders. Okay, he was getting the witnesses. I then met with Officer Whitsell and directed him to begin a crime scene log as he was getting the needed paperwork. I took over the responsibilities of monitoring a witness to the event. Ultimately, the witness was taken to another area out of the rain, and Officer Schatz took over the crime scene log, and I forwarded information about the bystanders to him. All right? Let me just stop there for a minute, you guys. Let me read some of y'all comments. We're going to continue reading. So the twin brother admitted his brother put his hands on Karmelo. Yep. Austin had no right to tell anyone to leave a Frisco ISD-owned tent. Sure, not physically attempted to remove anyone. Yep, I agree. I think they went to the same school because what I heard, this is not the first incident they had. Well, in this police report itself, it says that they were both students at Centennial High School and that they were at Memorial High School, okay? And it was Memorial High School 10. But let me keep reading, okay? Because this is actually news to me because the media is trying to make it seem like it was the white guy's school. Even not just the media and some sport commentaries as well were saying that the black guy was in the wrong because you don't sit up under a rivalry school's tent. But let me keep reading because, this is my first time reading this police arrest report, okay? So now another officer by the name of Officer Showles. And if I get the name wrong, honey, please forgive me, y'all. Y'all know I ain't good with names. I'll jack them up in a minute, okay? So now his take on it was upon his arrival, he tried to get an updated location of the suspect. I could not see Officer Cortez. When I arrived, Officer Cortez informed me over the radio that he had the suspect in custody. At this time, I turned my attention to the victim. Multiple FISD trainers were already performing CPR. I could see blood on and around the victim. At this time, medics had arrived on the scene and started beginning life-saving measures. I coordinated with the officer on the scene to secure the location. By the time the students and FISD staff had cleared the area, I used crime scene tape and began to tape off the area. It began to rain harder, all right? Mind you, it was raining hard. The reason why the black guy was sitting in the tent and also, the reason why all of them was sitting up under the tent because it was raining, all right? All right, so it began to rain harder. At this time, Sergeant Otis and myself moved a Memorial High School tent over the medics and the victims to attempt to preserve any evidence that we could. A Memorial coach approached me and informed me that he was with a student who claimed to see the entire altercation. Now, this is somebody that said they didn't see the entire altercation. I told the coach to stick with the student and that we would need to get him to the police station to give a statement. The student quickly informed me that he knew where the suspect threw the knife and pointed me into that location. I located the knife with Sergeant Otis and could see blood on the knife. I quickly used my city-issued phone to take pictures before the rain could wash the blood away. Sergeant Otis located a blue tarp and we decided that we would cover the knife without touching it in an attempt to preserve any evidence. It was windy and raining hard. Once we positioned the tarp over the knife, I reached down and grabbed the backpack left in the stand to weigh the tarp down and threw it up by Sergeant Otis was positioning the tarp. It was later discovered that the backpack I threw onto the tarp was the suspect, which is Karmelo's backpack. It was the only Centennial High School backpack located within all of the Memorial High School backpacks in that area of the stand. Now, the reason why he pointed that out, because he's trying to say he was from Centennial while everybody else was from Memorial. But let me continue. After securing the scene with crime scene tape and attempting to preserve as much evidence as possible, I assisted officers with locating another possible witness. Officer Wetzel was maintaining scene security while I was assisting other officers. After the medic transport the victim, I relieved him of that post so he could go back to the patrol. I maintained scene security until the call was all clear. Photos will be uploaded to the crime scene folder and my body cam will be downloaded at the end of my shift. Now, here comes another officer. Pemberton says, he said, upon arrival, several officers and medical personnel were attempting to the victim who was laying in the ground of the stadium bleachers. I coordinated the Frisco PD response in trying to establish a crime scene. The knife reported to have been used in the assault was located by another officer in the bleachers. Shortly after my arrival, a large downpour of rain began. I directed several officers to use a tarp found at the scene to cover the location of the knife. I remained at the scene until the victim was transported and the crime scene was established. Now, another officer, Newton, he says, I arrived prior to the ambulance coming and waited for them to arrive. They arrived at 10:46. This happened all so fast, y'all, all so fast. Okay, 10:46 hours with the victim, Austin, who was brought into the trauma bay treatment. Okay, at 10:53 hours, Dr. Cho pronounced Austin deceased. So from 10:02 to 10:53 hours. So 51 minutes later, a dude lost his life. Okay. So, or should I say he was pronounced deceased. Once he was pronounced, staff stopped treatment and disconnected the cords and tubes from the machine without moving anything from the body itself. While on the scene, I took possession of the clothing worn by Austin and maintained possession of these clothing, okay, until the CIS dealer took them from me, all right? While on the scene, Officer Landon requested assistance in lifting the sheets off the body to take photos. I then placed the sheets back when completed. I then stood by in the room for security while Officer Landon, Officer Hernandez, all these officers took additional photos. At one point, they rolled the body and removed shorts from Austin that were also bagged, okay, and which stayed in my custody until I turned them over to the proper authorities. At 1:24 hours, the family was allowed into the scene to view the body. What a tragic, okay? What a tragic. Let's continue. What a tragic. Now, let's go to this one. It says, I took note during the time in which were scanned to the report and booked as evidence. I turned in the crime scene log to be scanned, okay? At the conclusion of the call, I took my camera off of convert mode and went to turn it off. At that point, I learned the camera had failed to activate due to it being on convert mode. I did not see the indicator light. So basically, he's saying his body camera didn't pick up shit, okay? Now, Officer Higgins said he was working the desk, honey. He was a donut eating officer, okay? He was working on the desk. And at approximately 10:42, he got the call, blah, blah, blah. He said, I gave an involuntary witness that, okay, he didn't do nothing. He desk work. All right, let's continue. I want to talk to the people that did the that contacted witnesses. Okay, this one says, Officer Craig. He said, upon arrival, I first made contact with Officer Cortez, who was standing next to a marked police vehicle. He had detained the suspect. He was in a patrol vehicle. I then responded to the vehicle scene. That was in the North Bleachers. As I walked up, I noticed Frisco Fire Department personnel was attempting to provide life-saving measures to a subject identified later as Memorial High School, Austin. Now, wait a minute. Now, right here, it says a Memorial High School, Austin. So, Lord Jesus. So, it does appear. Okay, let me just keep reading. We need to find out, was he a Centennial High School or a Memorial High School? I'll find out in a minute. I'm going to look it up. Anyway, it says he was later identified as Memorial High School, Austin. Okay. As officers worked the scene, I was asked to respond to the stadium medical locker room area and keep the following Memorial High School students, witnesses separated until detectives could speak to them. So while with them, I was told to take their cell phones from them and later turn over to another officer after being relieved. I was asked to make contact with all the FISD athletes that have been placed on the school. So basically, here's a whole witness list. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. Liberty, Memorial, Frisco. Okay. So a whole lot of different people that they scratched out their names. All right. So let me just see, does this say anything? It says, I was also met by the following coaches who advised that they witnessed the incident. Hold on. And it said, witnessed the incident. It says, this coach heard suspect confess to the stabbing. This coach heard the suspect confess to the stabbing. Okay, basically they saying they heard the suspect or they witnessed the incident. Now, let me see, does it say anything else? No, that's it. So now, you guys, let's have a conversation. Wait a minute, before we have a conversation, let me find out what school he went to. Give me 1 second. And let's see what he say right here. Hold on.
His brother was holding.
Oh, no, that's not it. That was just that. Let's find out. Did Austin Okay, let me just say, what school did Austin go to? What school did Austin attend? Okay, so Austin. Okay, so he is a Memorial High School student. Okay, Austin, the white guy, is a Memorial High School student. So they did not go to the same school. So this guy was from Centennial, while this guy, which is the deceased right now, the victim, he is from Centennial High School. So basically, this guy, when he saw, this guy is from Centennial. This guy is from Memorial. He didn't like that this guy was sitting under his tent, you guys. So he confronted him, told him to move. This guy said, no, I'm not moving. This guy said, you better move. This guy said, move me. This guy pushed him in an effort to move him from underneath the tent. This guy said, put your hands on me and see what happened, or punch me and see what happened. This guy called his bluff, didn't think he was going to do it. This guy reached in his bag, grabbed out a weapon, and stabbed him, you guys. This is what we're facing. We have a victim who is now deceased, and we have another 17-year-old that is in lockup right now with $1 million bond that's claiming it was self-defense. Let me tell you the reason why this is crazy. So many pieces to the puzzle. So many pieces and so many questions. Why did Karmelo have a weapon? Why did he have a knife at a high school track meet? Why did he have a knife? Why did this guy tell him to move and put his hands on him and push him? Why did this guy take such drastic measures? Okay. Now, it's just tragic all over. However, it comes down to self-defense or went too far. What say you? She says, Amoira, no, he's at home. He came home yesterday afternoon. Okay, well, if he's bonded out, all right, we'll get to that. If he's bonded out. Thank you for letting me know that. So let's read this happened in Texas. Texas is governed under Stand Your Law. Now, let me read it. I think we read it yesterday. And not yesterday, but one of the days. But we're going to read it again. Texas, stand your ground. I want to read it from word for word. All right. So this is what it says for Texas Stand Your Ground law. It does apply in a self-defense case. However, Texas law allows a person to use force, including deadly force, to protect themselves without a duty to retreat in certain conditions. In certain conditions. Now, let me just say this. I am not a lawyer, all right? I am not acting as a lawyer. I am a blogger that is reading straight from Google, okay? All right? I am not a lawyer. If you want to know the legalities of it, you have to go to a lawyer's page. I am not a lawyer, all right? So some of the conditions that need to be met in order for Texas Stand Your Ground law to be used in a self-defense case. A person is justified in using force if they reasonably, I always get that word wrong, reasonably believe the force is immediate, necessary to protect themselves from another unlawful use of force. The person did not provoke the other party. They were not engaged in criminal activities at the time. So basically it says legal justification for using force is 1, they have to believe that it was reasonably believed that the force was immediately necessary to protect themselves. 2, that they did not provoke the other party. And 3, they were not engaged in a criminal activity at the time of the incident. So now, let me tell you, which is sad. Criminal activity at the time of the incident. Now, I'm not a lawyer. But one of the criminal activities that I think is going to come into play, he was not supposed to have a weapon on school grounds. That is a criminal activity. Again, I am not a lawyer. Karmelo, the black guy, had a weapon. That is a crime. On a school ground, that is a crime. Okay? So again, the stand your ground law with no duty to retreat, he has to have a reasonable belief that immediately necessary to protect themselves. Let me back up. The reasonable belief that the force is immediately necessary to protect himself, that he did not provoke the other guy, and that he was not engaged in a criminal activity. I think number 3, the fact that he did have a weapon and he's not supposed to, he was engaged in a criminal activity because he had a weapon, all right? Deadly force is justified when the person reasonably believes deadly force is immediately necessary to protect themselves against death or serious injury, bodily injury, to prevent the commission of a certain serious crimes like aggravated assault, robbery, sexual assault, and either they were in a place that they had a legit right to be, home, vehicle, public space, they did not provoke the encounter, they were not breaking the law of the incident. Now, here's the thing. Was this guy wrong to try to tell somebody that you don't belong there? In my opinion, yes, he was wrong. Because who the fuck are you, right? Who are you to tell somebody that they don't belong? Okay? Even if it was a tent, it wasn't this guy's tent. It was the school's tent. If he felt like this guy shouldn't have been up under the school's tent, he should have went and told the school coach. That's my opinion. I'm going to say my damn opinion. And I'm going to say it. I'm going to speak what I feel about this situation. I think it's a horrible ass situation. But I think he was wrong to try to tell somebody they don't belong. I think he was wrong for bringing a weapon to a track meet. I think he was wrong for putting his hands on somebody like he can and think that everything is going to be fine. And I think he was wrong to escalate it by pulling out a knife. Both of these young fellas are wrong. It cost one of them their life, and it cost the other one their life, or potential their life. They were both wrong, guys. At first, when I first heard it, I was like, why is somebody going to tell somebody to move and blah, 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 blah. Then I thought about it and I was like, even if he did tell him to move, if he pushed him, why didn't he just push him back? Fist for fist. But then again, you can't tell somebody how to defend themselves because I'm 52 years old. I ain't putting hands on nobody. You put hands on me and I'm going to be like Karmelo. Okay? Because I am going to reasonably believe that you are trying to take my life. I am going to be like Karmelo. I am going to pick up anything around me to defend myself. Anything. Now, where I think Karmelo went wrong is that he had a knife on school property. Now, people want to say it's not school property. A track meet field is school property. I don't understand why y'all don't think that. It's not like it was at some park. It was at a high school track field. It's school property. Okay? However, I don't think that the black guy provoked the white guy. I don't think that. I think him sitting there, he just wanted to get out the damn rain, just like everybody else. Did Austin have to be so rude just because the black guy didn't go to the school and say, you need to move? How was him sitting there bothering him? And this is why people have turned it race. Well, this is one of the reasons why people turned it race. Who gave Austin authority to say, since you don't go to our school, I can physically move you from underneath our tent. Who gave him the right? Huh? And then I heard, I don't know if it was the parent or the brother. I think it was the daddy. We'll listen to it in a minute. He said, who raised, or maybe it was a politician shit. They said, who raised a kid? Who raised a kid to bring a weapon to school? Well, who raised a kid to think he can put hands on somebody because he don't think they belong there? Even though it may not have been for the visitor, right? And we're gonna continue to. This is not gonna be the first time we talk about this. I'm letting y'all know that now, okay? Even though she said, if you are at a park, would you be okay that a stranger to sit right next to you? I wouldn't care. I wouldn't push them away. If I didn't want a stranger sitting next to me, I'm gonna move. I wouldn't dare put my hands on somebody, because putting your hands on somebody can cost you your life, as we see here. I wouldn't dare put my hands on. I was taught by my parents at a young age to not put your hands on nobody because you can actually get hurt. Now, what I would have done, Midnight, since you brought up this question, what I would have done is I would have went and told someone higher than me. I'm a kid. I'm 17 years old. I don't have authority to move nobody. I'm not a police officer. You know, I have no authority. This is not my park. This is not my bleachers. This is not my tent. Just because I go to the school, it's not mine. I have no authority to put my hands on no one. But guess what I would have done? If I felt like we were at a school, okay? Exactly, Helen. Thank you for saying that, Helen. Thank you. If we were at a school and if I felt like, for team spirit or whatever, that, you know, hey, we just all want to sit under our tent and we don't want the rivalry teams or whatever over here by us, I would have went and got a coach. But my thing is, why couldn't, since they trying to paint Austin as this hero, right? Now, first of all, let me just say this. My heart goes out to both families. This is tragic on both sides. Austin lost his life. He didn't wake up that morning thinking this is the end. He lost his life. So I feel horrible for his parents, especially his mama, okay? I heard his mother heart as she was weeping and crying because she had twin boys and she would never see him again. So my heart goes out to the mother, right? But my heart also goes out to Karmelo's parents because they were both athletes. They both had bright futures ahead of them. I don't like the way the media is painting either of the boys, because you got the right saying that this guy was a thug and black boys are just raised aggressive and who raised a kid to bring a knife to school. And then you got the left saying, who the hell does he think he is? This, and they comparing it to the Rosa Parks. You don't tell somebody to move. This ain't this era no more. You don't put your hands on somebody to make them move out of your way. The whole situation is tragic. The whole situation is horrible. There's no way around it, but it's conversations to be had. It's conversations to be had. We should be teaching our kids, don't put your mother effing hands on nobody. That's the first thing. So when someone says, who teach their kid to take a knife to school? Who teach their kids to think that they have the authorities to push someone out of the way? Now, again, I was getting ready to say, if Austin, the one that died, was such a great human being that they're trying to pay him out to be, then why didn't he show grace to the black kid? Why didn't he look at him and say, oh man, it's raining hard out there, huh? Oh, okay, I see you sitting over here or whatever. You know, normally we wouldn't want you over here, but we see it's raining. It's okay that you over here. Why didn't he extend some type of grace? Because I would have. Raise your hand if you would have. If you would have saw a rivalry team person sitting up under the tent out of the rain, not starting shit, not starting no trouble, not talking shit to you guys, right? You see a rivalry team, right, over there. Would you embrace him or would you tell him to get the hell on? I would have embraced him. I would have said something like, you know you love it over here. You know you want to be a part of us. We're going to go ahead and let you sit there. You know what I mean? You trying to get out of the rain. You really want to be over here. You really want to be a part of us. You want to be on our team, don't you? I may have said something like that, but what I wouldn't have said is get the F on. Okay? She said, strangers sit next to me all the time. Hold on. Strangers sits next to me all the time that don't give me the right to tell them to. It's a public park. Don't go if you don't want nobody sitting next to you. Exactly. Who in their right mind will push somebody away because they don't want them sitting with him and his teammates? This is tragic, you guys. It's heavy. Even sitting here talking about it because you can't undo what's done, right? You cannot undo what's done. She said, I used to stay in Collins County and they're very racist out there. A young lady actually stayed in Frisco and said it is not uncommon for the kids to carry weapons out there because of it. And guess what? His lawyer will have to prove that. His lawyer would have to actually take all of that into consideration and prove that, okay? I heard that the twin white boys were bullying the young black fella. It is unfortunate that he lost his life. You're going to F around and find out when you continue bullying someone. All that, okay? They're going to have to, I did hear that they were bullies, but I will say this, there's a lot of rumors going around, okay? And until the case starts, we won't know what's true or not, because let me also put up what they are trying to put up in and say, not this one, because some of the stuff is lies. I'm not even gonna put up the one that they saying is lies. I know I have it. Hold on. Hold on. It's two pictures floating around, and each one of the boys are holding weapons. Where did I put the photo? Let me just grab it again. Hold on. I downloaded it. I don't know what I did with it. Okay. Give me a second. They both had rifles, but the right, hold on, Karmelo. Hold on. All right, so you see this. This is crazy. The media is something serious, man. It really is, but we have to ride with it. All right, let's go. You got this one, and then you got, where's the black kid? Right here. Well, let me put this one up first, and then I'll put the next one up. So you have this one. And then you have this one. All right. So you got the right putting this up, trying to say Karmelo is violent, right? Oh, he's holding a weapon. And then there's one where he's shooting a bird. He's a violent kid. He's holding a weapon. And then you got the left putting this up. Look at him. He's holding a weapon against this sweet little kid. So they're both blaming that the other kid, one trying to say they're innocent and one trying to, they both trying to paint their person that they agree with as the innocent one or the violent one, right? But nevertheless, both of them were athletes, okay? They were both athletes. However, it's other false stuff that's going around that I don't even want to put out right now because there is no proof, if it's proof is true or not. There's some Twitter post going around where the white kid has made racial statements, before or whatever. And I don't even want to put that out because I saw also that it could be fake. So I don't want to spread no fake news, okay? And I'm not taking no sides, not yet, right? I'm not taking no sides. Now, what I will say is I do not believe that he should get first degree, okay? I do not believe that it was first degree murder. I don't believe that at all. I do not believe that Karmelo intended to kill Austin. Now, that is my own opinion. I am not a lawyer, but I do not believe that it was premeditated. Okay, I do believe it was self-defense, but I also believe that he went a little too far. But again, if you are sitting there around a bunch of other children, other kids, and if you are in some sort of fear and if a person pushes you, I don't think that you can tell someone how to respond. I don't think that you should say, oh, since he pushed you softly, you should push him back softly. Oh, since he punched you in the head, you should punch him back in the head, the same way. I don't think that there's a thing that says that you should respond in the same way that they respond. I don't think that, right? However, I do think that the Karmelo is going to get dinged because he brought a knife to school. Other than that, I would say it's self-defense. But the fact that he had a weapon, now had he picked the weapon up off the ground, had he found it, had it been another form of weapon or whatever, and that took his life out, it would definitely still be, in my opinion, it would be self-defense. But the fact that he had it in his bag illegally is what I think is going to get him. I don't think it was first degree, though. She said, there is something to the law of duty to retreat. Texas does not have duty to retreat. Texas does not have a duty to retreat. So you got to be careful here in Texas because they do not have a duty to retreat. If you feel that, if you have a reasonable belief, and it's your own fucking reasonable, excuse my language. I said I was going to stop cussing. That's why I got my last two videos dinged because of my mouth. No one can tell you what was reasonable to you is not reasonable to someone else. If you felt, right, that if your belief that you was in reasonable fear, that you had to protect yourself, right? What's reasonable? What is reasonable? The belief that the force was necessary must be something a reasonable person would agree with. It's not based on fear alone. Right? So he had to have said, I believe I was in fear. And it don't even have to be in fear of his life. It could be in fear of assault. He was in fear of assault. Hell, he already got assaulted. When he pushed him, that's assault. It's assault. When he pushed him, that was assault. So it don't even have to be reasonably in fear of your life. It says reasonably in fear of your life, assault, or sexual assault. Okay? And here's the thing. It was more than just Austin there. His brother was there too. How did he know he wasn't about to get jumped for sitting in the wrong spot? Anyway, there's going to be a court hearing unless, he take a plea. But I believe it's going to be a court hearing because I do believe that he's going to fight. The black guy's going to go all the way and fight for self-defense. There is two other cases that this reminds me of. One is the Kyle Rittenhouse. Y'all remember that one? Kyle Rittenhouse during the protest. And this is what, if I was a lawyer, this is the main one I would talk about. During the Kyle Rittenhouse, he was at a protest. He was underage. He wasn't even supposed to be the F there. It wasn't even his city. He went all the way over to a whole nother state, dipping his nose in somebody else's big business. And when they were chasing him, they were about to kick him. They hadn't even put hands on this guy yet. They were in action of kicking him, and he popped them. And he got off. It was self-defense. Now, let me tell you how this is so similar to this case. And if I was a lawyer, I would use this case and then the other case, the DoorDash case I'm going to tell you about in a minute. I would use this case because he was illegally with the weapon. If I'm not mistaken, one Cal underage too. When he underage, his mama dropped him off. He was underage. He got a weapon for Christmas or wherever the hell, they give it to your birthday, Christmas, whatever. He got the weapon. He crossed the state lines, dipping his nose in somebody else's business or whatever. And he got off. He wasn't supposed to have the weapon. He wasn't supposed to be in that state. And the guy hadn't even put his hands on him. And he popped him. And he claimed self-defense. I don't see how this is any different. Okay? There was another guy, a DoorDash. Y'all heard about that one? A DoorDash delivery guy was in the mall. A YouTuber with his little pranks. Be careful, YouTubers, with your pranks. He walked up to a random guy in the mall, just trying to get food. The DoorDash guy was working, trying to get food from the mall to take back to his customer. The YouTuber was trying to pull a prank on him and had the phone in the DoorDash guy's face. The DoorDash guy said, move, stop, get away from me, get away from me. The YouTuber kept putting the phone in his face. The DoorDash guy said, get away, dude, get away, as he was trying to walk away. The YouTuber, what'd he do? Because they let him goddamn on cameras. He kept coming after him with that phone in his face. The DoorDash driver took out his weapon that was on him in the mall. You're not supposed to have a weapon on you in the mall, right? He took the weapon out and popped him. Now, the YouTuber survived, but they tried to charge the DoorDash delivery guy, and he was found by his peers not guilty. You can't go around messing with folk, is what I'm trying to tell you, because that may cost your life. Stop messing with folk. You don't know what type of time people are on. I'm trying to tell y'all. Y'all gotta stop messing with folks. Stop thinking that you got one more day to stick a camera in somebody's face. You got one more day to kick somebody. You got one more day to push somebody, put your hands on somebody. Stop thinking that. Stop thinking that you got one more day. Okay? Like I said, I hope they use this case. Again, this does not take away the fact that Austin has lost his life. I'm pretty sure he probably didn't think it was going to escalate to that. He probably thought that they might fight or they might tussle, they might wrestle, or he probably just thought the black guy would just up and leave. And I think that's probably what he thought, that the black guy would just up and leave. Leave my area. I just want you to leave my area. I don't want you over here by me. But did he have the right? Did he have the right? This is tragic on both ends. I listened to Austin's mom talk about how she'll never be able to hold her son again, hug her son again. It was horrible listening to the mother weep. It was horrible. But what about teach your son to keep his goddamn on hands to himself? When we going to talk about that? When are we going to talk about keep your hands to yourself? Stop thinking that you can get away with being a bully. Telling somebody to move out of an area that you don't own is being a bully. He was being a bully. He was being a bully. He said, get away from here. This is our tent. Move. She said, read my comment. Where's your comment? Hold on. I wasn't reading the chat. I'm sorry, you guys. Y'all know I get distracted when I read the chat. Where is your comment? Is it all the way up? She said, wait. They saying first degree? Oh, hell no. Yeah, they're saying first degree. They're saying first degree. They are charging him with first degree felony. Let me pull it back up. They are charging him. Let me go back to it. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say I think it said first degree. Yeah, first degree felony murder. They are charging him with first degree felony murder. He was a cashier at HEB grocery store, and they're charging him with felony murder right here. First degree. So I don't think the charge is correct. However, you know, I'm not no lawyer. They would have to prove their case. Okay. All right. Matt Thacker said, we don't know anything about what happened. Just hearsay. I'll reserve my opinion when I watch the trial, like everyone should. Oh, well, we're gonna state our opinion over here. You can reserve yours. We're gonna state our own opinion over here. That's what we do. We talk about it. We're gonna watch the case as well, but we're gonna still put our opinion on it. That's what we do. We bloggers. So bloggers, you know, some of them, like me, we'll state an opinion. And my opinion is they were both wrong, but I absolutely do not believe that he should get first degree. Now, do I believe that maybe he'll get involuntary manslaughter or something like that? I do. Only because he was wrong to have the weapon. But do I think that his intent was ill, malicious? Hell no, I don't. He was, in my opinion, I believe he was protecting himself. He was protecting himself. You know? She said the police charged him with first degree, but after the state investigated, they may change the charge. Yes, that's true too, Tangela. So if you don't like the people that make opinions, Matt, you don't have to be over here. We voice opinions over here all the time, honey. Look at all my she said, does the lawyer have a statement out yet? Can we hear it? Okay, hold on. I wanted to try to stay clear from playing video because, well, let's do it anyway. Only because, you know, people in there. All right, so Karmelo Anthony's lawyer. All right, let's listen. All right, it says they released a statement, and this is what it says. Give me a second. This is a tragedy. And let me just let y'all see the tent right quick. Let me let y'all see, not the tent, but what, stop screen. Let me let y'all see, for those that may not realize what the school tents look like. So, oh shoot, hold on, I just freaking moved it. I didn't mean to do that. Crap, let me go back. Oh crap, Amoira. Hold on, let's go back. Y'all, I clicked out of it. Oh my goodness, hold on, let me go back. K-A-R. Anthony. All right, hold on. All right, the attorney said, but let me just see if we can hear it. It says, Karmelo and the entire Anthony family are sincerely saddened that a life was lost and offered their condolences to the family of Austin Metcalf. The attorney said in a statement on Monday, during this difficult time, we urge the public to refrain from rushing to judgment before all the facts and evidence are presented. They continue, Karmelo, like all citizens of the United States, is entitled to a fair and impartial legal process. We are committed to ensuring that Karmelo rights are indeed protected throughout each phase of the criminal justice system. Okay, let me see if he made verbal. Wow, let me show you a picture of this thing right here. So this, if you guys can see it, that's what. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Hold on.
as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then how?
Now to Texas, where a father says he forgives the teen accused of fatally stabbing his son at a high school track meet. Police are now revealing what led to the terrifying moment. Here's ABC's Andrea Fujii.
New details about the killing of Austin Metcalf, the student stabbed at a high school track meet near Dallas. According to the arrest affidavit, 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony has confessed to the killing, saying he was trying to protect himself.
He knew how much I loved him, how much I do for him. Anything, I do anything for him.
Hunter Metcalf says he held his twin brother Austin as he was dying.
I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I look at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So.
It happened at the district championship meet in Frisco. Hunter says his brother had asked Karmelo to move his seat because he was sitting under the wrong tent. A witness says Karmelo replied, "Touch me and see what happens." And when Austin grabbed him, Karmelo allegedly pulled a knife.
They asked him to move, and when Austin grabbed his backpack to move, take it, he stabbed him in the chest and killed him.
He's now charged with first-degree murder.
Just because the kid was mad, my son is not here anymore. And I don't understand it.
Austin is being remembered as an honors student with aspirations to play college football. Despite the shocking loss, Austin's father says he chooses forgiveness over anger.
I forgive the other person because the forgiveness is not for him. The forgiveness is for me, so I can have peace. His life is destroyed. My life is destroyed.
The arrest affidavit says as Karmelo Anthony was being arrested, he asked if Austin was okay. Anthony is being held on $1 million bond.
Okay, that's that. But let's listen. This is the tent I was talking about. This is what these tents
My
look
Zen garden
like.
wasn't comforting enough, so
Oh,
I added
hold
peanut
on.
butter M&Ms.
I'm sorry.
So
Hold
creamy
on. Let me
and
cut this
comforting.
off.
Hey, leave my Zen garden.
Sorry, you guys. Let me pull up the Advocate spoke this morning. Hold on. He spoke this morning right here. It's about 12 minutes. Let's listen to it.
Who serves at
Hold on. Oh no, I don't want to play his thing. I don't want to play him. Hold on. Let me get another one. Because he all right, here we go.
Dominique Alexander, who serves as Karmelo Anthony family advocacy and representative, was asked why did Karmelo bring a knife to the track meet. Check out Dominique's response from today right here.
I can't speak to that because I believe that, first of all,
Let me get another one. I don't like that one either. Hold on. It's certain things that I don't like. I don't want to hear the commentary. I just want to hear the advocate himself speak. Is this one? Okay, this is one right here.
give me a thumbs up when it's. Okay. Sí. Thank you. Alrighty, we're good. Alrighty, so real quick, I want to start off by saying real quick that my comments are represented today by the Next Generation Action Network that have been working with the Anthony family.
This is not his attorney. He is an advocate for the family. Again, this is not his attorney. This is Dominique Alexander with the Next Generation Action Network, okay? So this is not his attorney.
From the advocacy standpoint, I'm not the Anthony family attorney. Of course, you know, the Next Generation Action Network is no stranger to this line of work. And we have been representing families for the last 10 years from an advocacy standpoint to get to the bottom of this situation. The Next Generation Action Network, since the past week, have gotten thousands of calls regarding this situation and making sure that our organization was involved in this situation because of the growing tension of racism and bigotry involving with the case. I want to start off by saying that I appreciate the Deputy Chief, John Stretch, from being able to come here to meet with us, as well as the Assistant Police Chief, Darren Stevens. These are two individuals who are currently over the investigation that is currently going on in Frisco ISD. Of course, let's start off in the proper way. I'm Minister Dominique Alexander. I serve as president and founder of the Next Generation Action Network, the largest human and civil rights organization in North Texas. Today, we had a meeting with the leadership of the Frisco Police Department to discuss the matter of urgency in the escalating racial threats and bigotry and online hate directed at the Anthony family. Let me be clear. The Anthony family cannot leave their home because of the growing threats towards their safety. Their personal address has been exposed. They have received graphic and racist threats. They are being targeted with violence and simply because their child is in the center of this tragedy. We are here just for justice. This justice must be fair and impartial and protected from biases. We cannot allow racism and bigotry to divide us. We cannot allow white America to decide when and how Black people can speak up against oppression. We do not pull the race card, we live it. Yes, this case is a tragedy. Anytime a child is lost, we mourn as a community. Our heart goes out to the family of Austin Metcalf. But we do not erase the right of the Anthony family to be protected and heard and treated with dignity. That's why today we spoke with the Frisco Police Department leadership to demand answers. We need to know what steps are being taken to protect the Anthony family, the strategies of the threats that's being spreaded, and how Frisco Police is ensuring that Karmelo Anthony's Sixth Amendment right, fair and public trial, is fully respected. Let's make it clear that absolutely we have the full permission and trust of the Anthony family and authorized for the Next Generation Action Network to speak today. Today in this meeting, we talked about and was able to give them graphic images of what this family has had to deal with for the last couple of days. It is sad. These graphic images not only display children with knives, Black children with knives stuck in their head, the Anthony family's address. We saw when this case first started that people were putting online that when Section 8 was accepted into the Frisco neighborhood, that became the lead of the downfall of Frisco. We have saw so many different hateful images, just hateful things. And the Next Generation Action Network wants to reiterate that Karmelo Anthony has a right to a fair trial, unbiased, and removed of racial hate and bigotry. I want to make it very clear, and I say this from my heart and my own personal reference. If someone wants to say race is not in this situation and shouldn't be, Well, I asked all of those people to join me in calling it out. But don't look at Black people and say, don't always play the race card. We don't play the race card, we live it. We live a reality. We also feel that the bond that Karmelo Anthony is on is too high. We do.
And I want to say something to that. Do y'all notice the bond that they gave him and the bond that they gave the young lady that defended herself, in my opinion, against the pastor in Memphis was both high as hell? Like, it is crazy. It is absurd that the bond is this high. You have men that touch little girls that get bonds lower than this. Okay, let's continue.
Because guess what? We've been here when Aaron Dean was arrested. We was here when Amber Geiger was arrested. $200,000. The system, it has a problem in it. Now, what I want to be able to do is ensure, and what we was able to hear today from the Frisco Police Department is reensuring that the Frisco Police Department is doing everything that it can to address the racism and the bigotry. We have saw the police chief, a statement being sent out by the police chief that was false. We have saw a false autopsy report that was false. We have to caution the community to say, hey, we cannot trust everything that is online. The disinformation that is going online is hurting this case, and it has to stop. It has to stop, y'all. As we know it right now, Austin Metcalf and Karmelo Anthony did not know each other. They did not know each other. Let's stop it. They were not at a party together. Let's stop the lies regarding this situation. We also know that both Austin Metcalf, the twin brothers, were on the roster that day to be at that track meet. We also know that Karmelo Anthony was on the roster that day to be at that track meet. Even though they both arrived, all of them arrived.
Meaning that they were both on the track team. So they both were supposed to be there.
This facility via the transportation of Frisco ISD. The lies has to stop, y'all. As far as the legal strategy, I'm not talking about that today because that's not my place. I'm not the lawyer. I think you guys have all had a statement in regards that the lawyers have asked for a bond reduction and they will release that in the way. We are solely here because where racism and bigotry and hate arises, the Next Generation Action Network will be there and will respond to that hate. We will not allow our communities to go under attack. We know that when people see a white and a Black man in an unfortunate situation happen, that race always become a factor in that situation. And it's really because people don't want to really have a conversation about racial reconciliation in this country. And the current climate that we live in, where racism and bigotry is at the forefront, we don't really want to have these conversations. And social media has been a stomping ground for people to be able to launch any disparity that they want to. And so, our heart goes out to all who are involved. The Next Generation Action Network continues to restate that we are here to support this situation based on what we have seen. We want to continue to express Mr. Karmelo Anthony's grounds of where he has displayed self-defense. I think that in the next coming days, as you see the things going out in the courtroom, it will be displayed. But today's meeting was solely about the threats that have been going towards their home and ensuring that there is a fair and impartial investigation going on. And I want the public to know that our organization, along with attorneys, are doing everything they can to make sure that race is not a factor in this case, ensuring and supporting like we've always done. And so I really appreciate the police chief coming to meet with us today to answer all of those questions that we have had. And so at this time, I'll just open it up for questions.
Dominique, what exactly did you ask police to do, and what exactly did they tell you they would do, and is it enough?
Okay, break that down. Just give me that again.
What exactly did you ask Frisco police in your meeting today to do about these allegations of racism leveled against this family? What did you ask police to do about it? What did they say they were going to do about it, and is it enough?
What I've asked them to do is put an additional presence out there with this family around their home. They have ensured that they have had levels of communication, but for the family, it has been hard for them to know and trust everything because of all of the disinformation. And it made it hard for a lot of people to even trust law enforcement in this situation because of what was going on. It was one moment that we thought that the police chief made a statement regarding the case. Then we find out that's a lie, right? The family saw an autopsy report, you know what I mean? Now, at the end of the day, because of my experience and growing up in the funeral home industry, I know that it's impossible to have an autopsy report, you know what I mean, something like that to be released in the matter of 2 days, right? So we was able to dispel that really quick, right? You know what I mean? And we knew that that was never going to be the avenue that the Collin County Medical Examiner would release that information, right? And so it made it very hard. So what we've asked them to do is increase their presence. We've asked them for a direct contact for the family to be able to send them the information that is.
I'm gonna fast forward just a little bit, you guys.
They're getting it, you know, that what is online, you would. And why we had this meeting to be able to ask, answer any questions.
And just real quick though, so what did police say that they were actually going to do? Are they going to increase?
Yes.
protection?
Yes. They accepted that. They did. And
You said in the initial letter to the city that you raised serious questions about their thoroughness and fairness of the investigation, saying that you guys have spoken to coaches and other people that witnessed it and that they didn't follow up with them. Were you able to have that conversation with the assistant chief and resolve that?
I was able to have that question, and we were able to give those individual names up because the Next Generation Action Network do not want to interfere in the investigation. We're not going to release who they are, but we were able to have that conversation today. You know what I mean? That's what prompted them to even be able to come in. And also, we not only talked about people who were speaking out like that had information regarding the case. We also reported people in official capacities, like people who are teachers, government officials that have used their own personal social media to placate in the hate and the false narratives that are coming out against Karmelo Anthony. And we were able to report that information to them regarding it.
Do you stand by that though, did they acknowledge that some witnesses have not been contacted by police, or were you?
To be exact, Frisco Police Department was able to tell me that they have interviewed over 75 people, and it's ongoing. But they did acknowledge that there are people who have not been interviewed in regards to this case. They are aware of that. That wasn't, like based on the information that we were getting, it was very hard for us to be able to, see what this investigation was going and how it was being together, because we didn't know what to trust. But we had to make sure that we get involved in this situation early so that we can ensure that this investigation is fair and unbiased.
Do you feel better after having this meeting that it will be a thorough and fair investigation?
I think the jury is still out. I think that, they were able to come to me and be very sincere about it. I feel comfortable right now, but we have to see, right? They did answer my questions. And so that's, for now, I can only see what they do from here on out in protecting this family, in making sure that this investigation is going right, and pushing forward. Do I? Yes, I will have a discussion with them, with their family attorney too as well.
I assume you're going to be releasing some of these images or proof, or I don't know if the family's house has been targeted.
Yeah.
Are you going to be releasing anything to the media to support what you guys are saying?
Yeah, I can release you social media posts that have been pushed out of their home. Yes.
Okay, with the 75 people they say they interviewed, did they say anything about video?
Yes, they have collected.
They interviewed 75 people, you guys. 75 people witnessed this. Good God Almighty.
The video.
So it is video of the incident.
Yes, they have collected video.
Oh, they got video of the incident. Ooh, interesting. This is going to be a good case, you guys. They have video footage of it all. Wow.
The video of the actual stabbing?
There's video. There are several different video that they verified. The initial attorneys were obtained through our advocacy. Yes, correct. Of course, you know that one of the attorneys, Kim T. Cole, is the general counsel of our organization. And I believe they are adding more people to, when we got the case, it's about ensuring that the families have representation. We know that over the weekend, the courts, which is normal protocol, appointed an attorney. That is done by, I want people to know that's done by the courts. That's not done by the family.
So wait a minute, is he going to be appointed an attorney? What? So he's not going to have a paid attorney? Is that what I just heard? Hold on, let's go back for a second.
Ensuring that the families have representation. We know that over the weekend, the courts, which is normal protocol, appointed an attorney. That is done by, I want people to know that's done by the courts. That's not done by the family. The gentleman that, and there's nothing he did wrong, the gentleman that presented himself as the attorney, at that time when he made those statements, he were the attorney of record until Monday morning when the new attorneys was able to notify.
Oh, okay, so they give you an attorney right away, and then so the courts appoint you an attorney. It sounds like he's saying the courts appoint an attorney right away until, okay, I got it. Thank you, Sean. She says no more. He is saying that he got an appointed attorney temporarily, and then until they announce the real attorney. Okay, got it. Thank you. Because I was going to say, what the hell? Okay, I got you. All right, I didn't know that. Okay.
Courts that they were the attorneys of record hired and retained by Mr. Karmelo Anthony. That's when they go. And I know there was a lot of confusion as to who did the family hire and all those different types of things. And so for now, y'all, that's an ongoing process.
What do we know that happened in the phone? As far as like cell phone getting broke, do we know that? Do we know about
I didn't ask about pretty much a cell phone. What I can tell you is on the surface of being debunked is the fact that they did not know each other. There wasn't no, and I want to say this because there is a particular blogger that's getting a lot of views, and it's very detrimental the audience that they're getting, right? And that's the only reason why I justify in saying this on this press conference, because of the type of information that Austin Metcalf and Karmelo Anthony had a fight the day before or a week before. Or
that's one of the reasons why I don't like putting out fake news. You hear me? That's why I give my opinion, but I would never just come out and put out fake news and say this, because I did find information out there that's damaging toward both boys, right? But I didn't want to put it out because it's not verified. And this is for the reason right here, because you may get the views, you might get the attention from other people, but if you're just spreading false news or whatever, that's not good for either party. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I'm very careful and selective in what I share with you guys.
At this point, there's nobody. There's nothing at this time that support that they knew each other. Okay, you know what I mean? They are both athletes in the same school district. Of course, they probably know of each other, but they do not know each other, right? And so that's a lot. Like the pictures and I believe there was a picture that went on social media saying that this is Austin Metcalf and Karmelo, and that is a lie. So that's a false narrative. Anything else?
I'm glad he's saying that, because I'm telling y'all, I saw some news and I was like, oh my goodness, this is juicy. And then I'm like, no more, no news person is putting this out. So when you don't see the news channel putting it out or not saying anything about it, then take it as a grain of salt.
People that view these social media posts before they hit share or send it to all their friends and such.
I ask that people, if you're really trying to help, I ask that y'all continue to support this family. I know that the community has overwhelmingly support this family in the tragedy that has happened in this situation. But I ask that people, when they're sharing information, please verify the source of the information that you are sharing. Because if you're trying to help Karmelo Anthony sharing.
Lisa said, my question, do you think he will have a fair trial? I actually do think he will have a fair trial. I think the most important thing is going to be jury selection. You know what I'm saying? If he get the jury, a good jury selection, yes, because to be honest with you, a reasonable person, and I'm just going to be honest, I'm talking about an open-minded, reasonable person will see that it was wrong on both sides, right? But they will also have to follow the law. First degree, I do not believe if they stick with that is going to fly. But if they are reasonable, they will understand that it's going to be a very touchy situation. I do see some people just coming flat out right away saying, like the young fella that was in here earlier, I just see it as guilty or not, guilty or not, guilty or not of what? Okay. So I do think that it would be a fair trial depending on the jury selection. Yes.
False narratives is not helping. This situation is too delicate to be spreading false information. There are a lot of different things, people taking screenshots, and it's looking in the day and age that we have with artificial intelligence. Someone can take this sheet of paper and recreate it with our letterhead, with anybody's statement, and put it out. And that's very detrimental. So we've asked continuously, if you are posting something on social media, please verify your statement. I just want to say this, if there's no other questions, is there any other questions? No questions? Yes. Yeah.
And these are more clarifying questions. You mentioned that the attorneys that have been retained to review the advocacy organization. Can you talk a little bit more about what your relationship has been thus far with the Anthony family?
That's not true to say, Brown Shorty. That's not true to say. And let me just tell you why. You know, y'all know I have a blended family, okay? And I've already discussed this story with some members of my blended family, and they do not see it that way, okay? So everybody, just because they have a different color of skin, is not siding. So let me just put it in layman's terms. All white people are not siding with white Austin, and all Black people are not siding with Black Karmelo. So that's absolutely not the case, okay? So I'm just telling you, not in this one right here, all right? That is not the case.
The second question, can you speak to kind of your stance on the investigation at this point? I think the letter that was initially sent suggested that the investigation, as you saw it, was insufficient. I'm wondering if you still maintain that. You talked a little bit about that earlier, but just want to make sure I understand what the stance is.
So, like many people know, the Next Generation Action Network was founded in 2014. And after a situation happened like this and our organization gets involved with the case, there is protocol to be able to get them a proper representation, because our organization is an advocacy, a human and civil rights organization. So we cannot give a family legal advice, right? So there are appropriate protocols and people who are brought in to be able to do that. And of course, that's the family's decision to, you know, go with that or whatever. And we just...
He's absolutely not a hero. And I did hear his mom say he was doing the right thing. I don't understand what, you know, she said, my son is always known to do the right thing. I don't see how pushing someone, trying to push them out from underneath the tent is the right thing. That's why I said it's going to be a lot of opinions, and I'm here on Talk About It with Amoira. Will base my opinion, whether people like it or not. I will give my opinion. Doing the right thing is not putting your hands on someone, okay? Telling them that they don't belong somewhere. That is not doing the right thing, okay? But again, it's subjective because, of course, it's her son. She's going to think everything he does is right, right? Most of the time when your kid do something, you're going to try to find a way to justify it. He was not doing the right thing, period.
Give them the options that they need to be able...
That young fella sitting there was not harming no one, okay? No one. Him sitting there was not harming no one.
Make sure that...
If he was doing the right thing, he would have offered him a bottle of water or some shit like that. You understand what I'm saying? He would have said, hey, you know what? I see you down there. You're under here because it's raining. It's raining outside, and I see you on. Would you like a bottle of water or something, man? Dude, would you like a bottle of water? That would be doing the right thing. Okay. She said, question, are you coming live later too? Yes, I am. I will be talking about this more. The more and more information is released, I will either post a video or come live, but I will stay on top of this topic. Okay, you guys. So if y'all don't want to hear about this, then just know that I will be talking more about this topic. Okay, because we started off with it and I want to finish it all the way to the end.
Rights are protected, right? Like I said with her question, the jury is still out in regards to the investigation. And now they did give me a lot of clarity about some of the falsehoods that I didn't know wasn't true until I asked them, because there were so many different letters and so many different stuff that was going out on social media.
I understand what you're saying, Shane. Shane said, yeah, but the last time I was on a team, you didn't sit on the opposing team bench. I understand what you're saying, but what we don't know is because I was an athlete too, sometimes the opposite side is not even open. So we don't even know if they were all on one side and just had, they had different tents. We don't know if, we don't know if he just sat there because it was raining, because that's what it sounds like to me. It sounds to me like he just sat there because he just didn't want to get rained on. Okay. But I do believe that they may have been all on one side. So as far as sitting up under the tent, again, he probably just did it because it was raining. It was raining. You know what I mean? So when you go in and seek shelter, you're not going to necessarily say, hey, you guys, is it okay if I sit here? Or, you know, you may, if you are a polite person, but he's 17 years old, right? He probably didn't think to say, hey, you guys, is it okay if I sit here? He just probably thought, oh, they're not going to do anything because, you know, it is raining, right? It's visibly raining. They're not going to kick me from underneath the tent. They're not going to put their hands on me and tell me that I don't belong here. He probably wasn't thinking along those terms, you know? But as far as sitting on the opposite side, I don't know 100%, but it appears that they may have only had one side open, okay?
To hear them say the letter that was supposed to be put out by the police chief was false, right? And so, because I couldn't trust whether that was true because of how much hiding. I do share their concern that this case is like none other.
Okay, thank you. So Yaz said, that's a lie. My daughter runs track and all the track runners sit together. And then me follows up and said, yes, you are right. All teams were on the visitor side of the stadium. Okay, great. Thank you for that information. So all the teams was on one side. So now all of a sudden there's a particular bench that you're not supposed to sit on. So you're telling me because the umbrella or the tent was over the black kid's head, he was in the wrong? Yeah, let's try again. So you're saying because he had his foot or head up underneath this tent, then he deserved to be kicked out, pushed, or whatever the case may be. I don't think so. But let's continue.
I just feel like we're at that beacon of where we are in social media and artificial intelligence, where people can just do anything and just run.
Okay, I think that's enough of him. If y'all want to go listen to the rest of him, just catch it on Fox 4 Dallas Fort Worth News. He basically just saying in a nutshell that he wants people to stop coming for the family, sending death threats and stuff like that. He's an advocate for the family. He's basically saying before everybody forms a verdict of what's what, to pay attention to both sides of the fence, you know, the both sides, the victim and the suspect. Okay. He's saying pay attention to both sides of the victim. So you guys said that he was released. Let me just see where was he released? Hold on. They did raise, let me see. Hold on 1 second. Give me a second. I want to say it was 200,000, but let me just see. All right, hold on. I don't see. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me see what was he released. No, he wasn't released. So as of today, it says that he remains in jail in custody at the Collins County Jail with his bond set at $1 million. His legal team has filed a motion to reduce the bond, and a hearing is scheduled for Monday, April the 14th at 9 a.m. Where are you being told that he's released at, me? It says he's still in jail. He's asking for a lower bond. Me, where are you being told that he was released yesterday and he's at home with his family? Right now, it says he has a goal of $350,000 for the GoFundMe, and so far out of the $350,000, he has raised $277,000. And the Austin family also have a GoFundMe, and his goal is $330,000, which is $20,000 less than Karmelo's GoFundMe, and he has raised $308,000 toward his 30. So each one of them are raising significantly amount of money. Okay, $308,000 has been raised for Austin. Okay. That's Austin, $308,000. Right now he has a goal of $330,000. And Karmelo has raised $277,000 toward his $350,000 GoFundMe, which that tells me there's basically an even amount of people that support one or the other. It's kind of down the line, right? It's not, that's why I say race is actually involved, because I believe, even though it shouldn't be, but I believe it is involved. But right now it's kind of tied down the middle, that just as much people that believe Austin was in the right, which Austin is right here, just as much people think that he was a fine young man, whatnot, the same amount of people think that Karmelo was a fine young man. So it's basically an even split, okay? Shane says, so you will unalive someone because they asked you to sit with your team? Really? Because they asked you to, so you will unalive someone because they asked you to sit with your team? Really? Wow. You mean to not sit with your team, right? You mean someone that pushes you and tell you to get from underneath their tent because they don't want you sitting by them? Will I unalive them? Well, let me just say it like this. I will defend myself. So now I don't think that Karmelo meant to unalive him, but if you're asking me if somebody pushes me out of my chair because they think that they have authority over me, yes, I will defend myself, Shane, if that's what you're asking me. I will defend myself. Okay. That's what I would do. Okay. I would defend myself. So like I said, just as many people think that Austin is in the right, just as many people think that he's in the right. So it's not United States or the world think Austin is right and everybody think, Karmelo is wrong. That is not the case here, you guys. That's why it's going to be a pretty interesting case, because it's right down the middle, okay? It is literally right down the middle. But you guys, please, let's try to refrain from being mean with each other or whatever. I know you guys have been doing a great job at that. So let's keep it like that. We, over here, we have healthy debates. But we don't, we're not having any unhealthy debates over here. We know this is going to be testy, and, you can feel how you want to feel. But, we're going to still base our opinion over here, okay? She said, I meant the white kid. Why does his family need all that money? I don't know. Burial, or I don't know. Well, she said to help the family heal, okay? So let's read it. Let's read the GoFundMes. Hold on. Let's read the GoFundMes. Let's go to them right quick. So I'm going to read both of them, all right? So for Austin, I'm going to put it up while I read it. Anyway, I'm only laughing because she said, why you need all that money? Honoring Austin Metcalf. Help his family heal. It takes a whole lot of money to help his family heal. And I am Jeff Metcalf. My son, Austin Metcalf, was tragically stabbed today at a school track meet. They were not able to save him. He was a bright young man with a great future ahead of him. He was a leader of men. His smile would light up a room. His passion for football was unbelievable. Voted team MVP this past season and carried a 4.0 GPA. So he was a smart kid. He was looking forward to taking his game to the next level. His commitment, dedication, leadership, and sheer grit made him rise to the level of success that he desired. His twin brother, Hunter, played beside him. He will always remember him for the way he impacted other lives. I love you forever, son. It's not goodbye. It's see you later. God will take care of us until we meet again. Rest in peace, Dad. And he put several photos of Austin up. That's when they were twins, Austin and Hunter. This is the dad and Austin. And this is both boys and his daddy. Okay. And this is both boys and the daddy. And this is Austin. Okay. Now, again, they raised $310,000. They got 6.2 thousand people that donated toward a $330K goal. Now let's go to the other young fella. which is Karmelo. All right. Karmelo, it says, it's not a GoFundMe, it's a Give, Send, Go. It's kind of the same, but a little different. It says, this is the official support fund for Karmelo and his family during this challenging and difficult time. The narratives being spread is false, unjust, and harmful. As a family of faith, we are deeply grateful for all the support during this time, during this trying period. Your prayers and assistance mean more to us now, more than ever. And then it says, that's it. And it just has, this says, okay, the goal is 350,000 and they've raised 283,000 so far. Okay. So, and it looks like 8,423 people has given to this. So, like we just said, with the other young fella, 6.2 thousand have given to his fund, whereas 8.433 has given to this young fella. Okay. So again, pretty much an even split in people wanting to see justice done. Now, why does the other family need that much money? Well, honey, I don't know. All right. I guess funeral arrangements, they probably need investigations done. They probably going to try to look, they need money for their lawyers to, well, I don't think you have to pay the prosecutor, because the prosecutor has to look, what they're going to do, they're going to look into this fella's background. Even though I heard both boys had a 4.0, both boys ran track. They are going to look into Karmelo's background and they're going to try to prove that he was the demon seed of Chucky and that, he came there looking for blood on his hand. They're going to try to paint him in the worst way possible. We know that, okay? And then his family is going to look into his background, right? They're going to try to paint him as a racist and the worst human possible. So we're going to be here for it all. We are going to be here for it all. She said, Amoira, Austin family has 2 of them. You read only 1. Oh, they got 2 GoFundMe? Hold on, baby. Hold on. You said the Austin family has 2? Amoira, Austin family have 2 of them. What other GoFundMe at? Mom and dad has an active GoFundMe. What? Wait a minute. The mom and dad has one? Wait a minute. Hold on. Y'all know I can get my humor side going, but wait a minute. Okay, in memory of Austin. There is 2. Good God Almighty, you are so right. It is 2 GoFundMes. Okay, the mama, she got her own GoFundMe and she done raised $146,000. And the daddy done raised $310,000. Well, I'll be God freaking doggone. Make it make sense. Okay, it says, we are honoring the life of Austin Metcalf, a sweet young athlete who was tragically killed on Wednesday morning. Please consider donating to help and support his mother, Megan, and his twin brother. Oh, they're not together. Oh, my name is Carrie Otis, and I own a local pizzeria that Megan and the boys worked at. I have included Marie Needham, Megan's sister, and the aunt of Austin Hunters to help with this GoFundMe so Megan doesn't have to worry about this while she is grieving. Any monies raised will be given to Megan and Hunter to help cover funeral costs and any future legal battles that they may endure going forward. I started this GoFundMe specifically for Megan and Hunter because they, as well as Austin, are beloved members of the Halo community, and we are completely heartbroken over this tragedy and devastating event. Oh, so they ain't together. They are both trying to capitalize off of their son individually. Okay, so the daddy got one and the mama got one. Oh, she said faith and morals have everything to do with this. You do not kill anyone and claim self-defense is out the window when you said touch me and see what happens. Shane, you are delusional to think that somebody's supposed to let somebody put hands on them and don't do nothing about it, Shane. Now, I don't believe the young fella meant to kill. to unalive him. So if you're trying to insinuate that, you might be in the wrong chat, Shane, okay? I'm just going to let you know, all right? Because you know what? I'm going to get you up out of here because now you go play with somebody else. Go play with somebody else. Go play with somebody else, okay? I ain't got time for you, okay? And that's not me not agreeing or not trying to understand him. He trying to throw something down our throat. And we already said both boys was wrong. You know, he's trying to already come over here and sow a seed that this young fella did it on purpose and this, that, and the other. We ain't playing that over here. We already think the boy didn't do it on purpose. The boy ain't going to try to kill you and then turn around and ask, are you going to be okay? So, Shane, I'm going to need you to exit stage left. I'm not the blogger for you, okay? So take that shit somewhere else, all right? Like we said, ain't none of them wrong. I mean, ain't none of them right. You coming over here trying to shove your opinion down our throat, trying to insinuate that the black boy was wrong for unaliving the white boy. The white boy did not have a right to put his hands on the black boy, okay? We're going to see what the court of law say. We're going to follow it, but they were both wrong. They were both wrong. You don't get to go around telling somebody to get the hell out from away from you. This ain't the old America. Y'all need to get it together and stop playing, okay? Stop putting your hands on people, period. Keep your hands to yourself. This shit would not have happened. Now, they were both wrong. We both said that. And we're going to keep that stance over here. They were both wrong. Now, and I'm only saying that because him and a couple of other people over here trying to shove their, oh, he killed a guy. A lot of people have killed people and have said self-defense and got away with it. Okay? Now, again, I'm not saying that, I shouldn't say kick. Yeah, I'm supposed to say unalive. I'm sorry. Shoot, I'm probably ruined the live at this point. But, like I said, there's no assigned seats. There are no assigned seats. And people, he said, oh, you're gonna unalive somebody because they told you to move. You don't get to put hands on people. He said, damn, can you have an opinion? Oh, yeah, you can have an opinion. But what you can't do is try to shove it down, because what you're asking me is, so you're trying to say if somebody sit beside you, you have a right to K them. No, did you hear me say that? Did you hear me say that Karmelo had a right to unalive this young fella? No, you didn't hear me say that, so don't come over here saying that in my chat. Don't say that in my chat. Keep that to yourself. No one said that the black boy Karmelo had a right to unalive Austin. But what I do say, he had a right to defend himself, okay? You don't just put your hands pushing on people, okay? Correction. You don't do that. You don't do that. So as far as, you can't have an opinion over here. You can have an opinion, but don't sit here and say, don't try to put words in our mouth is what I'm trying to say. Ain't nobody in this chat is saying that this young fella had a right to take a life. To be honest with you, I personally myself don't believe that he was trying to take a life. He was not trying to take a life. If he was trying to take a life, I don't think he would be asking, is he okay? Is he okay? He warned this guy and said, if you put your hands on me, see what happened. Punch me and see what happened. I'm sure he was scared. However, was he supposed to have a knife? That's going to be up to the courts to find out, all right? She said, this is a money grab. They both did it within 24 hours. You talking about the GoFundMe? Yeah, I'm not sure what's that's all about. Thank you, Meg, for the tip. I do appreciate you. She said, thank you, sis. This live was awesome. Thank you. Y'all know how I do. I am a very, let me tell you, I look at both sides of a situation, right? However, I am very passionate about what I believe in, okay? Now, I have listened to both situations, and my heart goes out to both families because it's tragic and it was unnecessary. But at the same time, you got to put yourself in people's shoes sometimes. You got to sit here and ask yourself, damn, if this was me, would I allow somebody just push on me like that? Push me, this, that, and the other, I feel like if, like I said already, and I'm not going to keep iterating it, but if he didn't want the guy over there, all you had to do is go talk to the coach. And the coach probably would have told him, don't worry about it. I don't see a coach coming up there saying, dude, you can't sit over here. That's not coach-like. You know what I mean? I don't see a coach making the young fella move. If he wasn't over there being unruly, he wasn't over there investigating, harassing, bullying them, why move? Why make him move? What's the purpose of making him move? All because you don't want him over there? Who the hell are you? That's what people need to be asking themselves. Who the hell is he to say, I don't want you over there? And why? Why? Did he deserve to lose his life? He probably was just looking for a fight. Obviously, if you put your hands on someone, you're looking for a fight. You're looking for something. Okay? You don't put your hands on someone not expecting something else to happen. All right? She said, Neo, that is a completely different scenario. What did Neo say? Neo said, if you think Karmelo was wrong when you think, then you think Trayvon Martin was wrong for punching Zimmerman when he was following him. If you think Karmelo was wrong, then you think Trayvon Martin was wrong for punching. I don't even know. This case, in my opinion, is more of, of the Cal Ritten situation than the Trayvon Martin. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because Cal Ritten was somewhere he did not belong. Okay. And he had a weapon that he was not supposed to have, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong on that. Let me look it up, because when I was following the Cal Ritten, hold on, Cal, and he was found not guilty. Cal Ritten weapon. Because when he's 16 or something, let me see. Yep. It said it was determined. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. It says, no, under Wisconsin law, the weapon he used was not illegal for him to possess. It says he was 17 at the time of the shooting. He carried an AR-15, and the prosecutor charged him with unlawful possession of a dangerous weapon by a person of 18. But the charge was dismissed by the judge before the jury deliberated. Oh, it was dismissed by the judge. Why? Why was the charge dismissed? Because Wisconsin says minors can possess a short barrel rifle or a shotgun, but Rittenhouse rifle had a barrel longer than 16 inches, made it legal under the state. Oh, okay. So Wisconsin said that they can't possess a short barrel rifle. So the rifle was longer than 16 inches, which made it illegal under that state. So while many believe it was illegal for him to carry the weapon, the specifics of the Wisconsin law allowed it, which is why the charge did not hold him in court. Okay, so I did not know that. Per Wisconsin, the weapon was actually legal. So I always thought that his weapon was illegal. So the judge threw that out because his rifle was more than 16 inches. And that is why Cal did not get charged with that weapon. So now let me ask this. Is it illegal hold on. All right, so it says in Texas law, Penal Code 4603, it is a criminal offense to carry certain weapons onto school properties, including public or private schools, school-sponsored events like track meets, and any area within 1,000 feet of a school property. Knives with a blade over 4.5 inches. Okay? So illegal knives like switchblade blades, daggers, or certain fixable blades, any knife at all. If the person is a student and the event is school-sponsored, even smaller knives could still violate school district policies, which often have zero tolerance for weapons. Carrying a prohibited weapon on a school ground is a third-degree felony in Texas. This can lead you to 2 to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Even if someone claimed they carry a knife for protection, it is not allowed at school events, and doing so can lead to serious criminal charges, especially if it is used in an altercation. Oh, wow. Okay, hold on. Hold on. So right now they're not giving the specifics for the knife size that he had. Only thing they're saying that it was a black knife. So they're not even giving the length or anything. So again, so Cal's situation is a little different because the weapon of his that he had, the barrel was long enough. But in this instance, it says that he cannot have a weapon in his hand. So I don't know how he's going to beat that, but we'll see. We're going to keep up with the case. She said, yes, you absolutely cannot have a weapon on school grounds. And people want to say it was a park, but it was a school. It was a school. Hold on. And it was a school sponsored event. So even if it wasn't a school sponsored event, even if it's at a church, if it's a school sponsored event, Texas law on weapons in school covers a school sponsored event. Okay. So again, you guys, everything about this case is not going to come out today. All right. This live is not meant for everything to come out because we're going to go over the bullying of the boys and all that stuff is going to come out and we're going to go over it, you guys. We're going to go over it all. All right. It says, hold on, let me just let y'all hear this right quick. Hold on, let me put it up on the screen. Lawyer of teen charged with let's let this ad go by first. Let me put it down until the ad goes by. I don't know if he's gonna read it himself or is he gonna have the news people read it, but let's see. Everything is not going to be revealed today.
Now to Texas, where a father says he forgives the teen accused of fatally stabbing his son at a high school track meet. Police are now revealing what led to the terrifying moment. Here's ABC's Andrea Fuji.
New details about the killing of Austin Metcalf, the student stabbed at a high school track meet near Dallas. According to the arrest affidavit, 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony has confessed to the killing, saying he was trying to protect himself.
He knew how much I loved him, how much I do for him. I do anything for him.
Hunter Metcalf says he held his twin brother Austin as he was dying.
I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I looked at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So.
It happened at the district championship meet in Frisco. Hunter says his brother had asked Karmelo to move his seat because he was sitting under the wrong tent. A witness says Karmelo replied, "Touch me and see what happens." And when Austin grabbed him, Karmelo allegedly pulled a knife.
They asked him to move, and when Austin grabbed his backpack to move, take it, he stabbed him in the chest and killed him.
He's now charged with first-degree murder.
Just because the kid was mad, my son is not here anymore. And I don't understand it.
Austin is being remembered as an honors student.
See, now that type of shit pisses me off, just because he was mad, my son is not here anymore. Like they're trying to discount that he pushed him. Like this, oh, merciful Lord, Jesus, honey. Oh, anyway, let's continue.
With aspirations to play college football, despite the shocking loss, Austin's father says he chooses forgiveness over anger.
I forgive the other person because the forgiveness is not for him. The forgiveness is for me, so I can have peace. His life is destroyed. My life is destroyed.
The arrest affidavit says as Karmelo Anthony was being arrested, he asked if Austin was okay. Anthony is being held on $1 million bond.
All right, so I guess it's just what I read to you guys earlier. Hold on.
Sorry, honey, it's a work thing. Mine's also a work thing.
Hold on, because it said he gave a statement, and I think I read it earlier during this difficult time. Yeah. The attorney said that they plan to work with the Collins County District Attorney's Office to seek a reduced bond and a better determination of the filed charges. This will certainly be a long road ahead, and during this challenging time, we ask for prayers for both families, and we ask for your patience and respect for the legal process as we seek the truth. Okay, that is what the attorneys has said. All right. So again, he's not talking right now. She said, Amoira, what is your email address? I want to send you something. Thank you. It is talkaboutitwithamoira@gmail.com. Talkaboutitwithamoira@gmail.com. Hey, you guys, that's going to be it for this commentary. I've been on already for over 2 hours. If you like this commentary and want to continue me talking on this topic, please bless this this live stream. I have a goal up that you can find on the side. Well, it's on the side for me, but I don't know how you guys see it on your end. But if you guys will help me reach my goal before we get off while I read some of your comments, that would be greatly appreciated, okay? I thank you guys. Anything that you can give, all right? She says, $1 million bail, that is high as F. It is high. I mean, they act like he was some, you know, like he went and blew up a school or something. It's very, very high, okay? It's absolutely ridiculous if you ask me. She says, great live, Amoira. Thanks for getting me through the day. You're welcome. You're welcome. She said, and see, they are going to use that against him. Which one, Sean? They're going to use what against him? What are they going to try to use against him? Which one? He's going to be charged for having a weapon at the school ground. I do believe that he will be charged for having a weapon at the school ground. I do believe that. It is a totally, if the incident was reversed, he would not be in jail. They would have ruled self-defense. I don't know if they would have totally ruled self-defense, because you got to think that weapon, that's a criminal offense right there. Okay. So I don't think that they could actually overlook that. That man clearly says they were both supposed to be there. Yep, they were both supposed to be there. So just because somebody sits up under your tent does not give you the right to put your hands on them. Okay. It's not your tent. It's the school's tent. It is the school's tent. Okay. So, so I think Neil's saying they both of them were defending themselves. No. Oh, you mean Trayvon Martin. Okay. I thought you meant both was defending themselves as far as this young fella. Okay. So yeah, no. All right. Let me see. Neil. Yeah, he was wrong for having a weapon on school grounds. There were plenty of people who say you better not put your hands on me, or you better not touch me. Yeah, so there's a thing out there trying to say, was that a threat or was that a warning? What do you guys say? Do y'all think that was a threat or a warning? Him saying, if you put your hands on me, this is going to happen, or you better not put your hands on me, or this is going to happen. Put it down in the comments. Do you think it was a threat or a warning? What do y'all say? I mean, you can look, I say it was a warning if you ask me. But some people say it was a threat. Some people say it was a threat. All right. It's crazy. And listen, of course, the verdict is still out. There's going to be other things to peel back the onion, right? And what I mean by that is, when I say it's going to be other things, they're going to get down to the nitty gritty and find out, is the guy that was unalive, is he a bully? Has he bullied people before, right? They're going to also dig into the background of Karmelo and find out, is he a bully? Has he been in some type of altercation before? So is right now, this is just surface, but they're going to really, really, really dig deep down and find out the characters of each one of these fellas, because the determination is going to be beyond what just happened that day, okay? They're going to get into the mindset of these two young fellas, how they were raised, what they're subjective to. And a lot of that is going to weigh on how they go about trying to defend or prosecute this case, okay? So what we know so far, before we get off, we know that a 17-year-old athlete is dead, okay? We know a 17-year-old teen is charged with murder, all right? The question was, is it stand your ground or cross the line? Okay. All right. Y'all tell me in the comments, stand your ground across the line. And this is just based off what you know right now. Of course, it may change down later, or even if, excuse me, even if you don't want to voice your opinion on it yet, just put verdict still out, okay? But as of right now, and every time I come on, I will ask you where you stand based on what else has came forward, okay? So stand your ground, across the line, or verdict still out, all right? So again, there was 75 people that was investigated, or should I say questioned, that was witnesses to it. And a lot of witnesses are saying that the twin boys are known as bullies. However, that will come out, okay? That will definitely come out. So each day I do this, or I touch on this. I don't know if it'll be every day, but every time something comes available new, I will be releasing it so we can stay on top of this case. If you come across something that you think that's interesting about the case, send it to talkaboutitwithamoira@gmail.com. Talkaboutitwithamoira@gmail.com. Okay. She said a lot is going to come out on both sides. You're absolutely, Rita. That's what happens. Honey, we might think today that somebody is a 4.0 straight A student, and then we find out behind the scene that they smoke drugs, sell drugs, bullying, and all kind of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? You know, so we will find out. Okay, I see a lot of people saying that it was a warning, and I see a lot of people say, let me look. I see several people say it was a stand your ground. Kathleen say they were bullies. Who is they were bullies? Stand your ground. Keep your hands to yourself. Okay. She says, hey, Amoira and Chad just waking up and I'll catch the replay. Yes. She said, I stand with Karmelo and his family. This is just another racist event in this country. Look at me. I'm like, I ain't even know. All right. So we're going to continue to talk on this story. She says, warning, a symptoms to threat family. A warning is synonym for threat family. Okay, if that's what you say. It can be looked at different though. A warning can be looked different than a threat. A warning is, I'm warning you, don't put your hands on me. And a threat, yeah, you put your hands on me, I'm going to, I can see what you're saying, but it's a little different. It's a little different, okay? But the moral of the story in this situation, the moral of the story, in my opinion, stop thinking that you have the right to put your hands on somebody. Your mouth can say anything you want it to say. You can talk as much shit as you want to talk. When you take a step forward to put your hands on someone, you don't become the good guy that's trying to help everybody out anymore. That goes out the door. That goes out the door. Again, these are photos that they're trying to put around to try to show that this young fella is a thug, right? But how is it any different than this? And of course, people want to say, oh, they were just going on a hunting event. How you know he wasn't? How do you know he wasn't? Hunting what? Hunting who? Huh? She says they cut what the brother said short. He was telling on his brother. You know what? It's funny that you say that, Shakota, because he already didn't say it in the police report that his brother pushed him. He's the one that told everybody in this police report. It says my brother pushed him in order to move him out the way. That's what it says. That's what he told the police. Let me read it verbatim. Let me read verbatim what the brother testimony was. Give me a sec. Let me get to it. Hold on. Give me a sec. Where is it at? Let me get to the part about the brother. Oh, right here. It says, the police says, I attempted to ask both of them what happened. I could not really get anything out of Hunter but Hunter stated that he wanted to speak. I asked him what happened, and Hunter stated they were all sitting under the bleachers under a Memorial High School tent, not a Austin's tent, not a Hunter's tent, but a Memorial High School tent. When another male who he did not know walked over and sat under the tent, not walked over and cussed him out, not walked over and spit on him, not walked over and punched him. He walked over and he sat under the tent. Okay? He sat under the tent. And then Austin told this male that since you do not go to Memorial, you had to leave the tent. Austin and the male went back and forth. And then Austin stood up and pushed the other male to get him out of the tent. So he stood up and pushed him out of the tent. He stood up and pushed him out of the tent and said during this time of arguing, the black male reached around in his bag that he had, and it was at that time that he took out a knife and stabbed Austin and then left the scene. That is the brother's statement. The brother said his brother stood up and pushed him. Okay? Right? He stood up and he pushed him. So the young fella that was in here earlier that I timed out that said, oh, you think it's okay for someone to just unalive you just because they don't want you sitting by them? It's okay to be unalive just because somebody don't want you sitting by them? I asked that fella, because I know you're still listening, even though you can't type because I timed you out. Do you think it's okay for someone to stand up and push you off of the bleachers because it is raining and you don't want to get wet and you want cover and you thought it was okay? You thought it was okay to sit up under a school tent in order to avoid the rain. You thought it was okay. Huh? Do you deserve to be pushed? Anyway, she said the way it was reported by the news isn't fair and leaning too much to the victim side is very biased reporting by the news. That is what the advocate was talking about. Of course, it's going to be it's going to lean. Of course, it's going to lean because they looking at it. Some of the politicians are already have came out and said things like black boys. Let me get it. I want y'all to hear it for yourself. Hold on. Let me read what it says. Thank you guys for helping me reach my goal. I appreciate it. All right, hold on. Hold on. Okay, I don't see it, but one politician came out and said that okay, hold on. Hold on, let me read exactly what he said. I don't think it was a politician, I think it was a right-wing media that said young black boys are increasingly aggressive. What the hell does that even mean? What the hell does that even mean? Matt Walsh. Okay, that's what he said. He said, let me tell you exactly what he said. Yeah, so he said, Matt Walsh said that black young males are increasingly aggressive. Okay. Meaning that, they just, they use the aggressive word as we don't know how to, black people don't know how to use their language, don't know how to be polite, don't know how to be calm. They're just aggressive, outraged, over the top. So he says black males, okay? He depicted them as aggressive to contribute to the widespread stereotype, okay? Yeah. So already, like I said, you got people already putting a spin on it. We're going to see that, but we're going to continue this story no matter what, all right? She said, get in here. I'm here listening, but working, just showing you some love and support. Good live and more, sis. Thank you so very much. She said, as much as they don't want this to happen, this will be a high-profile, racially motivated case. Absolutely. It's already headed that way. So I'm going to cover this highly profile case. Okay, I am. All right, I'm about to go. I don't want these lives to be too long because I do want people to go back and listen to them. So I'm gonna end it here. Anything new about this case, I'm gonna be looking myself. But if you guys find something else, please send it to talkaboutitwithamoira@gmail.com. And in the title, just put I don't even know if we just put the stabbing in Frisco. I don't know what saga we calling this, but right now we're gonna say the teen stabbing in Frisco for right now. Okay. Or it may be turned into the Austin, they may say Austin, whatever his last name case, or even Karmelo Anthony case, like they did the Trayvon Martin case. So yeah, I think it probably will be, since he's on trial, just put the Karmelo Anthony case. So don't do the teen stabbing in Frisco. When you send me something, just put in the subject line, Karmelo Anthony case. All right. So my moderator said I need 5 more yellow super stickers and super chats, and I will meet my goal. If you guys can help me at least meet my goal for this live stream. Thank you. She said Texas is a red state. Frisco is one of the racist cities in DFW. Wow. That's crazy. She said this was a threat just by him standing up and pushing him. Absolutely. And when you stand up, guess what? You use more force. When you standing up alone, it's, a threat. You standing over somebody, you trying to say, I'm batty, So standing up and pushing someone, we don't know how hard he pushed him. But guess what? They said it's on tape. So I'm sure they're going to release it during the trial. They're going to release it during the trial. Thank you, Ms. Hurd. Thank you, Raw Truth, for sliding through. Appreciate you. She says, I already shared the live. Always. Thank you so much, Raw Truth. I appreciate you. Troy Parks. I appreciate you. Dupu. I appreciate you. Levette says, I believe it was self-defense. They were wrong on both sides. It's just a really sad situation and is. Okay. Thank you, Levette. Appreciate you. Nell said Karmelo was in the papers for saving a boy from drowning. See, that type of stuff is going to come out. That type of stuff is going to come out. Everybody wants to paint their particular person a hero. You know what I mean? They want to have them looking good in their life. Okay. Thank you for that. Send me that article now. Brown Eyes. Thank you so very much. Send a more super chat. Thank you, Brown Eyes. I appreciate you. Tinkerbell. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you. J Love, helping you meet your goal. Thank you, J Love. Marissa. Thank you. Great live. Thank you. Cheryl Hawkins. Love you, Queen. Love you back. Thank you. 12K got a mad, says, get in here. I'm in here listening, but working, just showing some love and support. Good live, Amoira, says. Thank you so very much. And Ms. Hurd, great live, Amoira. Love you back. So where are we on our goal? I think we need 4 more. 4 more, right? 4 more to reach our goal. I'm coming back later with a live as well, you guys. Said this young fella's in jail with mad white people. I'm just saying. Brown Eyes, I'm pretty sure he's being protected in jail right now, okay? Because of how high this profile, how high he has already gotten. I'm sure he's being protected because right now, his family has received a lot of death threats already. So they're not only going to protect his family that's on the outside, they have to also protect him in jail, okay? So So I'm sure they probably right now even probably have him on suicide watch or just have him in a cell by himself. You know, that's how they normally do things when it's such a high profile case like this. She said, so if someone was recording, that means someone knew it was about to happen. Not necessarily. Y'all know people whip their phone out quick, fast, and in a hurry. Any type of altercation, argument, or anything, people whip their phone out. But it's not necessarily was recorded by a phone. Who knows? Cameras are everywhere these days. It could be a camera in the stadium. We don't know yet. Okay. But they said it was on videotape. Okay. So, but people will whip their phone out in a minute, baby. The first time somebody raised their voice, boom, 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 somebody is going to hit record. So I don't think that just because they got it on tape, they knew it was about to happen. I don't think that necessarily. I think that, it's like I said, it was either cameras in the stadium already, planted by the school, or somebody just probably heard him, the heated argument, and hit play. And those twins are pretty big. They are small. They're not small at all. They took his GoFundMe, which I feel was unfair. He needs a good lawyer, not a court appointed. Kathleen, what do you mean they took his GoFundMe? What are you talking about? Hold on. Sometimes we got to not spread rumors. Hold on. Yeah, it was removed. Oh my goodness. So it says Karmelo Anthony's fundraiser. Oh. It says GoFundMe removed multiple fundraisers set up for the Karmelo Anthony legal defense, citing their policy that prohibit fundraisers for the legal defense of individuals charged with violent crimes. Donations made to these campaigns were refunded to the donor. Active Give, Send, Go campaigns subsequently, a fundraiser was established on Give, Send, Go, a platform known for hosting campaigns that other platforms may not permit. This campaign has raised, okay. So GoFundMe, they had raised $310,000. Oh, no, that was not. Okay, so GoFundMe took and refunded all the monies that was raised on the GoFundMe. And then the young fella and his family had to go to another campaign site, and they went to Active Give, Send, Go. Okay, so the Active Give, Send, Go, they still have that one, but GoFundMe, yes, they said you cannot raise legal fees for anybody charged with violent crimes. Oh, wow. Okay, we learned something today. Okay, so with that said, they went ahead and started another campaign. Okay, so all is not lost. They still have Give, Send, Go that is now active. But yes, GoFundMe went and refunded all that money back. Wow, that is crazy. But if it's their policy, it is their policy. If it's their policy, it's their policy. They say you cannot, GoFundMe say you can't raise legal fees on their site. So Give, Send, Go said that you can. Okay. So you have to abide by rules. But GoFundMe allowed a campaign for honoring the Austin Metcalf family. Okay. Wow. Interesting. Thank you for that, Kathleen. Appreciate that. And y'all, thank y'all so very much. I do appreciate y'all from the bottom of my heart for not bringing up other drama during this live stream, okay? And that's what we need to start doing from now on. When we come on and start talking about one particular topic, let's not veer from that particular topic with other drama, okay? So I do appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart for that, because sometimes it can get all mixed up. We be so focused on trying to stick with one topic, and then we get all these other topics involved, okay? So we do want to continue talking about this case to find out all the pieces to the puzzles, okay? All right, so I do thank y'all so very much. And yeah, she said, what about the white man who unallowed the CEO? They don't have nothing to do with it. She said, he got money from GoFundMe. Oh, honey. Well, then GoFundMe is biased then, honey. They biased. They just ain't, you know, somebody probably reported to them. And let me tell you something. Sometimes things don't be seen until people start reporting it. So if people would have reported the other guys, it very well may have been an issue. GoFundMe don't just go and look at everybody that has made a GoFundMe and they go look at it to find out if it's legit or not. I don't think so. I think they wait until the massive amount of people to report. So trust me, because it's such a racial thing right now, I'm sure people are reporting the GoFundMe and anything else in that matter. You know what I mean? They probably just don't want him to have a legal defense. But y'all know, honey, y'all know big God is bigger than all of this. So we just have to see. We have to see. You know, again, I'm going to reiterate, and I think I'm going to continue to reiterate. I don't believe a life should have been lost, but I also believe that they need to teach their goddamn going children to keep their damn hands to themselves. Okay. All right. Anyway, I love y'all. Thank y'all for coming through. And I will talk to y'all a little bit later this afternoon. Hit that thumbs up button on your way out and share the live, you guys. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Because they can't make a dollar without mentioning down one of our names.
Jay! She kept talking about that family.
Hoes over there.
She kept talking about that family. 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 That family. She kept talking about that family. Talking about that family. These motherfuckers don't be wanting to listen on them.
Because they can't make a dollar without mentioning down one of our names.
Talking about it, talking about it, talking about it. That family. That family. That family. That family. Jay! That family. That family. Talking about it, talking about it, talking about it.
Dollar.
Talking about it, talking about it, talking about it.
Child, we finna talk about this with Amoira.